following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
Hey everyone, and welcome to 50 Shades of Bullshit. I'm your host, Christine Lalonde, and this is the podcast where we uncover the truth about online dating. Now let's begin. Hello, I'm Christine.
I'm Jada.
And this is 50 Shades of Bullshit.
Hi,
How are you, Jada?
You know what? I'm still giggling off of our previous conversation. So yeah. I'm great. I'm great.
We'll have to finish those. Mm-hmm. Sorry, folks. That's for another day. Well, I'm excited about today's episode. I decided, so I'm going to admit something right now.
Uh-oh, God.
So I have never been a weed smoker. Okay. I've never, until my late 40s, my boyfriend got me high and I was like, oh, what is this? Mm-hmm. Well, I have a hard time with it because I'm always super conscious when I'm on it. I'm afraid people are going to think I'm sounding like an idiot. So I always worry about that kind of thing. So I never do it during the day. Now, more often I do it at night when I've admitted before that I do it when I do my my manifesting, orgasmic manifesting. Mm-hmm. And so I won't do it at night. But then I started thinking today, when I get high, it turns me on. Like it's an aphrodisiac, right?
Okay.
And I thought, so for today's show, since it is Global Orgasm Day.
Yes.
And we are here to actually talk about some really exciting sex magic stuff and the winter solstice and all this fun, sexy things. I thought that I would get, in that space. So for the world to see,
oh my gosh,
I am high as fuck. So I went to just hit it just a teeny bit, but the damn thing wasn't warmed up and nothing was happening. So I was really taking in a good old breath when it popped on.
Oh no. See, I'm not a that's never been my thing. But I know you've told me before that I have to try gummies, but that I haven't done that yet either.
Yeah, well, I'm going to come to DC or you're going to come to LA and we'll do it and you'll see. So
sign me up.
I, would never have admitted for the life of me or for the world of me that I am high in front of a million kajillion people. But here I am. And I decided when in Rome or when we're going to be talking about orgasms.
Yeah. Why not? Right?
So why the fuck not? I figured, this is going to be a sexy topic, so I might as well get in the mood because right after this, we're doing, our celebration of Global Orgasm Day.
Okay. I was like, our celebration of what?
Yeah,
what did I forget?
We're charging the rose right now. Yes,
you
it is.
are ready, honey.
I am a rip-roar fun, and I have no idea what I'm going to say or what I'm going to do because when I get to this point, I have no fucking control.
I'm just going to say, please be patient with us today, people, because who knows what's going to come out.
When is it National Weed Day? So we can do this.
Isn't that 424? No, 404?
420.
420. Yeah.
We know what we're doing on 420. So, Snoop Dogg, I actually did his wedding. I was his wedding coordinator for his 10-year anniversary where they got remarried.
Yeah.
And he is wildly known to be high all the time. And he is a national treasure. So Why not?
Why not? Right? This is going to be spicy. And I'm actually, the way that you're already holding your head, I feel like this is going to be wild.
This is the thing. I have no idea what's going to come out of my mouth.
That's okay.
So I'm
We'll
a
just
little
go with it.
afraid.
We'll just go with it.
So,
I'm actually a little excited about today's topic because I know that we have talked a little bit about it before,
yep,
but I'm ready to learn and just
me too.
see what it's all about. So this is going to be good. I hope no children are listening.
Yeah, well, and if they're of consenting sexual age, then fine. Right? Well, Donna Sheehan, let's see if I can say these names right, and Paul Reffell, they created what is called, they're activists actually that created Global Orgasm Day. And it was to bring peace to everyone for at least one day. I'm thinking that reach has got to be a lot bigger. We need that.
Oh boy.
Anyway, well, we are going to welcome back Andrei. Andrei, Jesus, please tell me if I said that wrong. And Kendall. They were on our show before talking about tantric sex, and today they're coming back to educate us on Global Orgasm Day and sex magic and all this other fun stuff. And they are really into energy healing and meditation, and they have been practicing to help others understand their bodies and how to relate to each other. So let's bring on our awesome guests. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hello. Hello.
Why do I keep hanging up on your name the second I go to say it?
I don't know. You said it right. Andrei Knight.
Did I?
Got an extra letter, but it's pronounced the same way.
Well, I'm in my paranoid state, I think.
Oh my gosh. Wish us luck, guys. Today will be interesting with Christine right now.
I'm so sorry. I'm apologizing in advance.
No, I'm glad you smoked for the show, actually. That's wonderful. So the reason you find it to be an aphrodisiac, that's no accident, actually.
Oh, yes. Tell me.
Because the cannabis that makes you high, as opposed to like the hemp fiber that's used for paper, for clothes, etc., comes only from the female plant. And specifically from the flower of the female plant, so in other words, her yoni. And they pluck all the males so that to make sure that the female doesn't get sated, so she doesn't get satisfied and pollinated. So you're literally smoking the pussies of a bunch of horny female plants.
Oh,
well, I guess that explains why I'm a horny female.
And that's why
it's awesome.
And so many creative types love it.
I love that. Well, I was with a friend the other night, and we decided to get high, and I smoked his weed, and it like fucked me up so bad, and it made me really, really creative though, which is what I don't normally get with the one I use. And I literally said, "Oh my God, I think I understand what the Beatles were going through."
Yeah.
Yeah, I compared myself to the Beatles when I'm high.
Well, it's interesting because like the Egyptian temples, for example, where Tantra and sex magic were practiced, you know, they show people in all sorts of promiscuous positions. There's temples in India that do this too. But the temples in Egypt also show them becoming inebriated. They show depictions of the blue lotus plant, which is a known hallucinogen. They show consumption of alcohol, which we now know it actually amplifies the effect of the blue lotus. It helps the body absorb it. So as much as like breath, sound, and movement, like we discussed last time, were a part of their ritual and healing practice, so were inebriants, apparently.
Oh.
They believed that in that higher state, these types of things were easier to achieve.
Well, I have actually said in previous shows that when I'm with my partner and we are having sex and we get high, I time travel and I go to other dimensions, and the shit I see And I'm joyous, I'm laughing, and it's all during the times that I'm relating physically and mentally with the person I'm with. And it doesn't just heighten it in a sexual way, it heightens it in a mental way. And it's fucking brilliant. Anyway, cheers.
Here's to that.
Drink my water, get me kind of calm here. All right. Well, we are actually talking about a handful of topics today. Which one do you guys want to start with? The winter solstice, since that is upon us.
Yeah.
I think let's start with the winter solstice and Yule, because that's actually today.
Yep.
And that is actually the witchy and pagan origins of the Christmas holiday.
It
I always
is.
get a kick out of saying, like, witchy and Christian in the same sentence, because it ruffles feathers. But yeah, that is the pagan origins of the modern Christmas holiday. Global Orgasm Day is tomorrow, and I think going from the solstice into sex magic will give us the grounding we need to understand why Global Orgasm Day, it's not just a novelty. Oh, haha, it's an orgasm day. Like, there was some serious intent that Donna and Paul put behind it. And I think the conversation about sex magic will lay some good context for that.
I love that.
Yeah.
Now, I actually saw something earlier today that it briefly just kind of like caught my eye. I didn't focus on it, but I saw it so quickly, and it said, "Today is the day of grounding." And then you just said that, and I was like, oh, it really is. I think it's also so perfect because I think a lot of people have not felt like themselves this year. And coming out of COVID, that you're just not feeling like you're able to grasp yourself. And I've been saying for a while, I feel like I'm in another dimension I'm not supposed to be in, that I'm stuck there and I'm aware of it. And I'm trying to get back to a dimension that I'm supposed to be and not stuck, because we're not meant to struggle. We're not meant to be stuck. So
That's
I know. So I feel like within myself, and I think a lot of people have really felt like it's been a hard year, and we need to be out of it. We're ready to shed that. We're realizing we don't need to hang on to what doesn't serve us anymore. And I think unitly we are getting to a place that we're like, okay, it is time to ground and go and grow. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It's been a roller coaster since we had the pair of eclipses in Scorpio season. Like, that kind of kicked it off.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's been a roller coaster ever since. But and I think you can speak into that some too. But like, yeah, if you're experiencing tough times right now, especially in the solstice, I mean, it's the darkest night of the year. People used to fear it. And that's why all these festivals of lights kind of emerged, to try to brighten it up. But
true story.
It makes sense to do all the purging and cleansing ahead of something like Global Orgasm Day, and then Christmas, and then New Year's, all of these holidays where people traditionally set intentions. Like you said, you don't want to bring that gunk in with you. So, better out. As rough as this has been, it's been a necessary period of purging. I feel. I know you've had quite a bit with it.
Yeah, I definitely have. I mean, the season is very much it's something that I think as women we get to approach every month if we're, bleeding, for example. So winter energy is familiar to me, this whole like letting go. To me, winter solstice and this transition into this next season, it's to me what happens at a global scale for so many wombs around the world. So for me, it's very comforting to know that like people are taking that time or get to, right, and really face their darkness, face their shadows. And I, for one, have been facing my own, especially the last few days, which has been really necessary, because you're just talking about like that next level. Are you feeling stuck? Usually it's an energetic block somewhere, and often what I see is it's energetic blocks that are in the body, and also in the yoni, right? And we as women hold so much in that part of our bodies that like until we do some of that inner work, we're going to be stuck in the heart. And so that's what, in our practices and even in our relationship, even today, we created space for it, because like last night, total realness of like, we're putting our tree up and decorations, and it brings up sadness because of things from my own, being disconnected from my blood family. And I was just like crying on the couch, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like I get to be with my emotions right now. And, it's not as linear. It's the season gets to be raw, or it can be very surface level. For me, it's like, I don't know, the way that our work is, it's so tangible. Like we can't hide from each other or ourselves.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
I will say I don't know a ton about it, but just in doing research, especially for this show, from what I have read, is this is a time, the winter solstice is a time for obviously like deeper intimacy and nourishment and pouring into yourself a bit more. But it seems like there's also quite a few rituals that take place as well. Are there things that you could speak on as far as what people can do, or what some of like the best rituals would be during this time?
Good question, Jada.
Thank you.
Well, I love that you tied it to the menstrual cycle, because we can use that as a jumping off point. When she teaches the menstrual cycle to women, she divides it into 4 seasons as well.
We were just talking about this in a previous podcast, like a month ago.
Yeah. So it's your inner winter when you're bleeding. And that is the time, if you want to like stay in bed and take it easy and not see a lot of people, there's a reason for that. It's a time for going within. Spring is when you launch new ideas and spring into action. Summer is when you do the hard work. Fall is when you realize the fruits of your labor. And then winter, you go back in to contemplate everything that happened. So that happens every month. And that's according to the lunar cycle. This is the same thing, but according to the solar cycle. So we are now in the winter, obviously. And the winter solstice is like the dead of winter, the middle of it. I'll tell you one thing you shouldn't do is actually do New Year's resolutions.
Yeah, I don't believe in them.
I do more like a vision board. I don't do resolutions.
Well, that's great. But here's the thing. The reason most people fail to realize them is because they try to act on them in winter. Winter is when you go within. Every other mammal is hibernating, right? Most ancient cultures like the Persians, the Chinese, the Egyptians, the Hebrews, everybody celebrates their New Year in the spring. So this is the time when you contemplate about everything. Like you said, it was a tough year. Well, why was it tough? How did I grow? What did I learn? What did I let go of? This is a time for journaling. The biggest ritual I would say is light a candle and just spend some time with yourself. Journal, contemplate. You make plans for the coming year based on what you learned. But it's spring when you're prepared and you start acting on them. And if people did more of their resolutions in spring, I believe we'd see a much higher success rate.
I do too.
Other rituals, the idea of the Christmas tree, that certainly comes to us from ancient peoples, the Yule tree. But what they actually did, they would chop the bottom part of the tree off, and that became what's known as the Yule log. And they would decorate it with some branches, some cones, and some candles. And that's where the idea of putting lights in trees came from, also the menorah of Hanukkah. And that's what's known as the Yule log. And it would typically go on top of the fireplace. They would make some wreaths from the branches to make the house smell nice, and the rest they would put in the fireplace to stay warm. They didn't make a display out of it. They used it to stay warm through the winter. If you're going to bring a tree into your house,
might as well burn that bitch down.
Right. The part they decorated was what's known as the Yule log.
I love that.
But this is literally, it's not just the darkest night, actually. What's interesting, it's the darkest 3 nights. Okay. This is also like what most people call the new moon, is actually the dark moon. And it lasts for 3 days. The new moon comes on the 3rd day, that first sliver. So the same thing happens in December with the sun. We have the 3 longest nights, the 3 darkest days, where the sun dies and is then resurrected 3 days later on the eve of the 24th. Does that story sound familiar?
Yeah.
The son dies and is resurrected 3 days later. Yeah, that's where we get that whole thing from. They just misspelled it in the Bible.
Yeah.
It's UN. What are some other rituals?
I mean, I guess, gosh, lately, just really becoming attuned with my intuition. For me, it's just like really, for me personally in this season, creating space for me to like unravel, to like feel everything. You know, in prior years, I would have just like overstimulated myself, and for me, like almost like doing nothing is actually doing something. And
Oh my God, you're speaking to me right now.
yeah,
Like,
I guess for me, like a
really?
big part of what I feel like winter solstice is it's a remembrance of we are connected to Earth, and that we it's me. For me, I speak of my own story, but coming back to the heart of the matter of you know, what really matters in your life. And that's question in of itself. I've been reflecting on it. I've been singing about it. I contemplate when he's at work and I'm by myself. I'm like, who am I living for? Like really asking these like deeper questions, because the way I see it is, you know, the winter is a time of you know, introspection. You get to go within yourself. Oh yeah. So writing, I know some people like, I love baths, going to a spa, asking for what you need. That's a huge thing that I've been really moving through, and that I'm letting go of, is one of the things as a woman that I have has been some of my shadow, and also a kink, and sabotage. It's kind of like underestimating asking for what I need. So a big thing I've been like really training myself this season is just like being real with like, I need this, and like being clear with him about it. And like, for example, earlier he gave me a massage because I had pain in my shoulders, and it's like creating opportunity to use your voice, I feel like is opportunity in of itself during winter solstice. Gosh, what else? Yeah, like writing is huge for me, I would say. Movement, a huge ritual for me is just making sure I'm getting my movement. We move our bodies, we work out. I do Pilates. I liked, the biggest thing is the question I ask myself is, how can I be present? Because for me, because of underlying pain I have around this holiday, because of you know, growing up in Christianity and being disconnected, has been really training myself not to disassociate, not to disconnect, but to connect in a new way, where I'm like, I'm feeling the textures of the tree on my skin, I'm cleaning the dishes, I am cooking, I am smelling the aromas, like those little things like has been essential for me.
Yeah, you're kind of seeing the theme. It's not so much a holiday of doing like we've made it in the West. You know, got to get this done, got to get this done, it was almost the holiday of undoing, really. It's very much stillness, journaling. What we do, spring cleaning, the ancients used to do in the winter time, because you want to start the fresh year off, you know, on a clean. Yeah, it's almost the opposite of what we do. The real old traditions were like the Yule log, for example, decorating the Yule log. Something witches used to do on this holiday, interestingly, caroling, going from door to door, singing songs, baking cookies and cakes, not just for the sweetness of them, but oftentimes they were medicinal. They had herbs in them. So baking has always been a part of this holiday. And yeah, baking, singing.
Baking's a big thing for me. Is just not only that, but like, I mean, even earlier I was saying the cookies we got at the store are super soft. Like actually acknowledging those details. Another thing for me, I think, is really great, and I think why National Orgasm Day is really amazing. Taking time to really listen to your body and not bypass it. You know, I think for example, like if you need your body touch and massage, or if you need a yoni healing massage, I know I received that earlier, like being clear and really being open to no expectations, but really being attuned to yourself. And yeah, I think the rituals that we embody are just things we do normally throughout the year. It's just, it's heightened more because it's darker, you know, it's a little, you know, we have a
Do you
tree.
think that's why that kind of ties all in with what you're talking about, along with orgasm day, but also with the sex magic?
Sure. I mean, we've been doing that like this past week, even of just being like, even my body at a deep level has been like, you need to like let go, like you need to feel, you need it, you're gonna cry in the next few weeks a lot more. I'm like, okay, let's do it. And like even today, like I was realizing, oh my gosh, like it's almost like a detox, right? Like a lot of people are going through like
inner purge.
detoxes,
Yeah.
inner purging. You can do it in like food and like detox that way, but the way that I see sex magic, it's like the magic of you, like sex magic equates to us as humans acknowledging our bodies, acknowledging that we are powerful creators. And what I truly believe is that it's our responsibility to acknowledge those cues, right? When we're feeling stuck, or you know, maybe we're trying to bypass our intimacy time and we want to just get to the orgasm or something. It's about really getting like real with like your sorrow, with all these emotions that can come up as well. So that's how I see it.
The times we've done that too, we were like afterwards like, that was all right, but that wasn't one of our best. Yeah, that's true. I mean, we did some sex magic around the new moon. We will probably do a good amount today and over the weekend. But this week leading up to the solstice, it was very different. It was, a lot of tenderness, a lot of holding, a lot of crying.
A lot of my inner child personally coming up. I mean, this is when you're, for me, it's like been facing the reality. It's the nuance of life, right? The holding of energies, which is eroticism, you know, being able to hold grief, but also hold joy. Like I have joy that we're in partnership, that we have a home. Like there's so much to be grateful for, but my inner child has been like sad because I don't have that connection with my my blood family, at least right now. And so it's like this nuance of like, I literally said this, I think I shared this with you the last few days. I was like, and it really hit me. And as a woman, and maybe you guys can relate with me, is like, sometimes I'll prompt him like, do you really love me? And I know that's my pain. And I like testing him. And I just realized it's because what level I was going into a few years ago before we met was, will you love me in all of it? Right? Make love like is not just like, oh my God, all the orgasms. It's like, will you make love with my grief? Like, will you be an alchemist with it and help move it through me so that I can we can call and be that magnet to more opportunities? Because when we don't feel that, when we shut down our energetic bodies, that's where we get stuck, and that's where we might block our own abundance. We might come in our own way.
Well, great point. Like I've heard some school of thoughts where they say like, never waste an orgasm, right? Have an intent behind everyone, but you're not always in the best state to be manifesting.
Right. You know? I agree. Sometimes it's just for the physical release. Sometimes it's a mental release. We don't need to be
pleasure of it, and that's perfectly okay too. Exactly.
Yeah.
And because sex magic is so much more potent than regular manifestation, if you're tired, you don't want to bring that into it. If you're in a bad mood, you don't want to bring that into it. If you have some grief to process, do that stuff first. You want to be, at your best when you do sex magic. A lot of ceremonial magicians, they'll shower before they go into ritual.
Yeah.
For both practical cleansing, but also symbolic cleansing. Like, when you're actually going to be using it for manifestation, you want to be very, very intentional about it, and you want to deal with all that other stuff beforehand.
You can make the intention like we intend, or I intend, whoever, if it's together, individually of like, I intend to let go. I want to surrender. And
Okay.
I even think about this, you know, of women's sexuality, for example, Amrita, right? Like sex magic, even of that, of like letting go of fluids. Like what orgasm is you're letting go.
That's female
So
ejaculation.
yeah, it's letting go of
Mhm.
tension in the body, right? How many of us hold tension in certain places? And like, not that you need to get to Amrita. It's
Yeah.
that exercise, just like you go to the gym to work out. A lot of the time we're going to release tension, right?
Yeah.
In some way. And if you don't release tension, what happens? Lactic acid builds up in certain parts of the body. So it's like,
Mhm.
I see it as like I think about winter solstice in another way is like, where are the tense spots of this year that maybe you didn't face? And face them, feel them. You know, if you need to reconcile with yourself. I mean, the biggest thing for me has been learning to like forgive myself, where I abandoned myself this year. And like, instead of just being like, oh, this person or this person, like really face my own inner worlds and being like, okay, like, what do I need to move forward? Like, if I'm getting in my way, which I admit I have gotten in my own way this year in certain ways, will I be bringing that next year? Because it's almost like, I always feel this in life. It's you and you, right?
Right.
You and
Yeah.
you, and then Earth, Mother Nature is like, all right, in the darkest, in the underworld, like the darkest night of the year, are you gonna, you know, are you gonna reclaim your power? And that's why I feel like I'm so lucky to have Andrei, is because the underworld of the winter solstice. I mean, there's a reason why so many people have seasonal depression right now. You know, I have had my fair share as well of like, okay, you're in the underworld of your darkness. How do you not stay there, but you alchemize, face yourself? And I think that's where spiritual leaders like ourselves, where we, you know, we need each other, and
I
why
love
it's so
that.
important.
I will say this. Christine has talked about sex magic before in the past. This is all very new to me, but I am all here for it, just so you know. But one of the things I have a question about is for people that are not in a relationship or people that are not coupled with somebody, and you want to manifest your best life. And Christina said the best time that her orgasms are amazing and she always manifests while doing it. So I know that's a part of sex magic, but what would you suggest for someone to, like, obviously when you're masturbating and doing your thing, you're not going to read your list of affirmations. Like that's not going to be the thing. But what would you suggest for someone that is new to this but wants to like have that release but also build their best new year? Does that make sense?
Yep, you have some amazing questions today, my dear.
Yeah, Jade is on fucking fire.
Totally, you should share with your clients because, I mean, full transparency, we manifested each other through sex magic. She was doing her thing, I was doing my thing, and like lo and behold, we showed up in each other's lives and we matched the description perfectly.
I love that.
The recent trip to Italy was manifested through sex magic. We literally made love with the DVD for Under the Tuscan Sun under our pillow. Like,
that's what
I love that.
That wasn't really intended.
No, we intended to watch the movie, but we got distracted.
I bet
Just a little.
like, what's going on?
But yeah, you absolutely don't need a partner. You can do it by yourself. In fact, it's a great way to manifest your ideal partner because it is sensual, sexual, love, romantic energy that you're playing with. It's one of the best tools to manifest your ideal partner with. And you're right, you don't want to have a list because like she spoke into, it's all about connecting with your body. The last thing you want to do is go back into your head. So tools like the vision board that you are creating, for example, this is all stuff you do before the sex magic ritual, whether it's with yourself or your partner. Now, I've heard of some people taping their vision board to their ceiling so they can see it. That certainly works too.
The vision board has now become our masturbating porn. or sex
Yeah,
magic.
why not? Why not?
I
Absolutely.
love it.
But here's the real value of either a list or a vision board. Theoretically, when you read that list, and in the case of manifesting a partner, it's probably a list of qualities, a list of things you would be doing together. I recommend a list of how you feel when you're in their presence. A lot of people list, well, I want them to be this tall. I want them to have this color hair. I want them to make this much money. How do you want to feel when you're in their presence? Start with that, because feeling is the
Ooh, I
language
like
that the universe
that.
speaks and understands. So
Yeah.
when you look at your vision board, when you read your list back over, theoretically, it should make you feel something. That's the purpose of a vision board. It should evoke a feeling. And if it doesn't, get better pictures.
Yeah.
Pick bigger dreams. Stop censoring yourself. It should
Ooh, I
really
love
make
that.
you
That's
feel
hot.
something. Yeah.
Right.
Meditate with your vision board. Read over your list until you feel something. All you have to do at the moment of orgasm is recall that feeling. You see, it's not a head exercise. It's, again, a feeling exercise.
Yes. That's the best way I've heard it expressed or explained. That's fucking good. Keep going.
That's what I got.
Yeah, no, it's for me, when I think of eroticism and what I've learned from like is it Esther Perel, for example, eroticism is in sex magic, it's finding those places where you feel like you have like you know, a heartbeat when it's like this. It's finding those places that allow those spikes to happen in your life, in your heart, in your body. So, like, for example, for me, I think it might be some of my Capricornness a little bit, but like if I find a song that really is inspiring to me, I will play it over and over and over again. And that's how I see sex magic. And I have a playlist it's a bunch of songs that I want to utilize in one of my desires, and that's our chateau, and that's in our basically sex magic experiences that we want to host for people. And I play, oftentimes I'm driving, I'll just play these songs and I'll imagine, and I'll imagine what's happening. I'll imagine the dancers that I see around. I imagine people having freeing experiences and just sex around me. And so for me, how I see it is I've expanded when I think of sex magic beyond like being in a bed by myself. And even before I met you, I was just honestly so captivated with how good it made me feel to know that I was loving myself, because I was literally in the Christian world doing something that was very like taboo.
Forbidden.
That like, so like for me, I was in my rebellion, I was finding like myself, right? So like whatever it is, when I think of sex magic, whatever it is that turns you on, lights you up, follow that. Like even if it's, for me, like I love novelty, I love new things. I'm always looking of like, what is something new that I perhaps, you know, a new aspect of dance, for example, a new aspect of we went to see a movie the other day. Like, what are things that like
Poor Things.
Poor Things. It was great. It was
highly recommended. Emma Stone.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Ooh, I can't wait to see it.
There was a lot of sex in it. It was a lot of like past life reflections too, but like a lot of sexuality was a focus. But nonetheless, the focus in light of sex magic is find the innocence of your expression. Bring your, you know, the excitement about certain things in life. Or if, for example, if you're in a place, and this is what I've been in right now, where I've been like, where's my inspiration? Like, why do I feel like there's almost like a lull? And I'll be honest, I go through my ebbs and flows. And what I've learned, it's because the universe is like, you need to let go. And in order for that new declaration of a new beginning to happen, right? It's like, you have to feel the ends before these new beginnings. So yeah, I don't know. Sex magic is so much. I mean, it's how you eat, like it's the energy of vitality, right? Like what turns you on, what gets you excited, what's like those, oh my gosh, like I love this. For me, we just bought a bunch of cookies. I did.
She bought it for
right. But like,
my job is to eat them. She buys them.
Right. Well, yeah. It's like the little things of like the texture of that cookie just was like, oh my god, like that is sex
Mhm.
magic in a way, because
Mm.
the more
Yeah.
good
good
you
point.
can feel about
love that.
yourself, and not like, even for me, like I'll be told frank, the last few days, my own personal, it's like my subconscious has been coming to the front. And if you've been feeling that, it's a
Yep.
lot of like our negative thinkings or patterns. It's common
Mhm.
coming up to the solstice. But if you have that, sex magic is learning and becoming that observer. Wouldn't you say?
Mm.
Like, sex magic is not just like, oh, I'm getting so lost in it, which is great. But no, it's like being the observer of like, what is the, like, as a practicing witch, it's like, what is the cauldron right now? Like, what is in there in this soup called myself and
Yeah.
the universe, and what do I need to like
Mm,
pull out, what I need to pull in? And it's like,
mm,
you know what I mean?
beautiful.
I
good.
do know what you mean,
Yeah.
because that's why I like to get high when I do that, because my brain will not shut the fuck up. And so when I get high, it allows my brain to say, okay, I can take a break for a second. And it allows myself to be acceptance of whatever comes out
You.
of my head.
That's it.
Mm,
That's it.
yeah,
And
that's, well, it's huge.
Mhm.
and
It's
that
huge to know that you're in that too. You're like giving yourself that permission. I know for me, like I've gone through my phases of weed consumption. We've utilized other things as well, and I think it's, yeah, what is it, is that medicine supporting you in, right? Is it
Mhm.
is
It's
it helping,
freeing me in
allowing
my
yourself
head.
to open? Yeah, like,
Yeah.
and I go through my ebbs and flow. I was through the season where I was having more weed more often, and we use other psychedelic medicines as well. And I have found that because I tune to my body, I know which medicines my body prefers in certain
Mhm.
lights.
Mhm.
And
Which one's it gonna reject? Yeah.
yeah, so it's more, everyone's different, you know. Some
I
people like
love
weed,
that.
some people like MDMA, some people like to take other things. And
Yeah,
it's
you haven't
just,
touched weed in months.
yeah, I haven't
Like, what-
touched it because for me it was more personally at the season. I just felt like a download of like pause, because it was really hard to
Mm.
focus. Like, I had a hard time exercising my masculine energy, and I was
Mm.
disassociating a little bit. But yeah, I prefer, honestly, MDMA personally, because
Y-
it's
You
everything.
know, this is, I can, okay. My brain is going so fucking fast right now. I cannot get the words out. Kendall, I need you to come back on the show again, and we actually have a episode about that, because I have a very incredible story around that for my one and only experience, and I want to have another experience to eliminate the memories of the other. I want to replace,
Mm.
Oh,
um
yeah, for sure.
because it was traumatizing.
Oh, so sorry.
If I had been anywhere else, I would have died that night.
Mm.
So it's an incredibly traumatizing story that I want to replace, and I would love to talk to somebody who gets the love and the positivity out of it, so that I can go into it in another headspace. So
Mhm.
yeah, I want to put a pin in that, and let's talk about
We'll
that
come
maybe
back.
in the new year, because I think that is a good way of opening people's minds to something that they may think, and oh my god, that's a terrible drug, because they don't know what it is.
It's in
And
stage
I'd like
3
to
clinical
replace it.
trials right now. It's about to be approved for therapeutic use.
That's
Mm.
I love that. I love
I've
that.
been using it with returning vets on PTSD for years.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Yeah, so we want to come back, and we want to talk about that, and we want to, I'll share my story. It's mind-blowing, and I don't think I want to tell it while I'm high, because I will struggle with that.
Yeah.
Well,
So
absolutely. Like, you get the idea. Like, anything you can do to create a sense of ritual. Like, why do we play music during sex? Because it puts us in a certain mood, right?
mood.
Why do we like to light candles? Because it creates a mood. You don't want to do this in a messy room looking at your dirty laundry. You know, you want to take some time to prep the space. All of these things, light some candles, light some incense. If you've got some pretty velvety fabrics, spread them around. All of this helps kind of transport you into that kind of mythic space. you know.
Right.
The
Mhm.
more you can do to help your imagination, the better, because imagination in this case is not a dismissive term. Imagination is how magic happens. Okay.
Say
Mm.
say that for me again.
Yeah.
Say,
Imagination is how magic happens. Aleister Crowley once said, like, all of the costumes, all of the incantations, all of the stuff we do, it's not for the benefit of the magic, it's for the benefit of the magician. It's your
Mm.
mind that has to slip into a certain space,
wow.
and then magic becomes possible. It's not that if I pronounce these words correctly in the correct order, something will happen. It's that I will believe that I am imbued with the power to make something happen,
Yes.
and then you are.
Wow.
That's how I feel when I
It's
do
all
magic.
the benefit of the magician, not the magic. Once
Yeah.
you're there, the magic kind of takes care of itself. All you have to do is focus on the feeling.
Yeah, well, it flows through you. You are, there's no separation anymore. Like when I was in Italy and you know, we utilized MDMA for magical ritual, and because I had built up such a what do you call it? Like muscle or memory around utilizing this medicine. There was a point where like there was no script. I literally was just following my gut. Like I was trusting myself, and it became this beautiful thing. And then we reflect, I was like, what just happened? Like there was no like formal manual. It was just truly oneness,
Yeah.
right? And that's the beauty of why sex magic is so powerful, because when I think about, you know, the foundation of it, it is being in, like, seeing yourself, right? Like being there. And that's what I think about intimacy, even with another or with a few people, which is what, you know, we've experienced too. It's like, are you willing to just unravel and be witnessed in your process? Like there's
Right.
so much. Yeah.
I
Even
love
just
that.
understanding your voice.
I think for me, like I mentioned before, this is all very new to me, and I know we only have a few minutes left, but it sounds like it's all about appreciation and being present and acknowledging like where you are, the space that you're in, and where you can take yourself to go. And it
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily have to be about doing that with someone, because you can obviously do that with yourself, but just
Yeah.
bringing in like the vision, like you said, and just being present and appreciating, this is my body, this is where I'm at, this is what I want, this is like, that's
I
a
love
very
it.
powerful thing within itself. You guys are so
It is.
good.
I know.
I'm
I
just
love you
like,
guys so
I
fucking much.
just
I love it.
Let me tell you guys, I want to bring in also a concept known as edging, because this is important. Sex magic isn't just like, wee, haha, that was fun.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Yeah.
it's
I call it a wave.
right. It's that moment right before the precipice of orgasm. That's
Yeah.
actually where the magic happens. So
Yeah.
you want to practice getting to that point and keeping yourself there as long as possible. And in the beginning, it might be like you get close, oh, gotta back off, get close. In the beginning, it's like that. But then you get good enough to where you can just hold yourself there. So that's important too. Recalling the feeling, not being in your head, but then that kind of concept of being at the precipice and drawing that moment out as long as you can.
Mine's not a straight.
Yours is.
Mine goes like this.
Great. Yeah.
Well, I think also too what I feel as sex magic as it's evolved, even in my own experience and just together, is we live in such a society of like instant gratification that what I feel, even that edging, because I love edging too, it teaches you how to appreciate energy expanding in your body. Yeah, like you being able to hold more energy. Right?
Yeah.
Some of us have like huge dreams of like, I want this, I want that. And it requires more responsibility. But can you hold that life force energy? And so when I think of sexuality, when I think of pleasuring myself, or, you know, he witnessing me or us together, it's like the more you can hold that energy as it moves in your body and you maintain that's where I think the expansion comes, where you're not having to like jump 3 levels, right? You're there, right? You're like, you know, if I have, like, for us, like for me, I'm excited about being able to hold more space for more people because we've been able to hold that for us.
Beautiful.
And now
It is
I
beautiful.
start to understand the significance of Global Orgasm Day, which, by the way, spells
Yay!
God. Because if it's this
No, it's
powerful,
tomorrow.
It's
it's tomorrow, right?
Well, you're
if
listening tomorrow too.
if if manifestation through orgasm is that powerful, what happens when we get many people doing it all over the world at the same time?
I love it. Well,
that
I
literally makes
actually
it
could
not work.
continue to talk about this for another 400 hours.
Me too.
But, we're actually out of time. So I'm going to have to make this really quick. Thank you, everybody, for coming every week. Thank you for being here with us. Kendra, Andrei, you guys, Kendall. God damn
Kendall.
it.
I was like, who's
Andrei, I
Kendra?
love you guys. One last thing before we go. If you haven't voted for me every day, please do. I am up for Greatest Baker. It is greatestbaker.com/2023/ my name, Christine-Lalonde. Please vote and please come back next week. And we're
Yes.
going to have you guys
We
on
gotta have you
in a
guys
month
back.
again. So yay. And until
Right.
you see us same time, same place next week, let's keep it fucking real.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share with your friends, like and follow us on Instagram at 50shades_of_bullshit and Facebook at 50 Shades of Bullshit. Thanks so much for listening, and we really hope to see you again next week.